Ladies and gentlemen, boys, girls, angry faithful of all ages. Yes, we're coming to you about 5 minutes early because why not? I mean, it is our show, and yeah, it is what it is. Nerd Sports episode 207. Now before we get started, and before I hand things off to our illustrious producer, I'm going to take a minute to embarrass my kid. So today is his 16th birthday. Yes.
Woohoo!
That is his dedication. That is his determination to be that Ronin, to exemplify the greatest genetic code the world has ever seen by spending his birthday coming to y'all. So yeah. Colin, I know that I tell you this a lot, but son, I am proud of you.
Just go live.
Yeah, we're live.
No,
Yeah.
yeah, but it's showing like it just now went off.
Oh no. Well, that's because you're anyway. We've been live for a minute and a half, so here we go. Anyway, hold for I remember the day you were born. I remember walking you to school on your first day in kindergarten, taking you to the ball game. The old Arlington State, old Rangers ballpark in Arlington with the open air, natural grass.
Yeah, the better one.
David Ortiz hit a home run right over our heads at your first game. Got to, I got to see you play baseball, learn the game, fall in love with the game. I got to see your personality develop. You inherited some of my finer traits. I know. I said that with, a chuckle. But I am incredibly proud of you. You and your brother, all of your siblings. I mean, y'all are the best things that I have ever produced in this world. So, David, if you will join me, we were supposed to have Jacka tonight, but we are sans Jacka. Sans Jacka, that's so sad. Happy birthday to you.
Happy birthday to you.
Happy birthday, dear Colin. Happy birthday
to you.
you. Okay, now without further ado, I'm going to finally turn it over to our illustrious producer, David Dickerman.
Okay, this isn't really a sport, but I found this funny, so we're gonna do this a full view. It's hilarious.
Would have been given a chance if he hadn't broken down pro sports physical ability barrier. Athletes like Emma Heathcote, cerebral palsy sufferer, and 3-time national equestrian champ. Blind stock car driver, Bobby Templeton. Deaf Olympic sprinter, Craig Connors. Gil Saranen, the world's first professional comatose diver.
Oh.
And of course, Chicago shooting guard Herbie Cohn, who was born with Judaism.
Oh.
Yes, none of it would have been possible without Brendan LaRue, a true inspirational portrait.
I saw that. I was like, you know what? We're gonna have some fun this day.
There's people out there who are rooting for our downfall. And the fact that Chicago shooting guard. Oh.
Gave them ammo. That's what's really sad.
I really liked the where they threw him into the pool. Whoever
Yeah, comatose diver.
Just-
So we all got our like seats ready to go, right?
I mean, I just renewed my license, so I'm the certified, bus driver.
Okay.
Okay. So, there's a guy who plays for Arizona. He's a relief pitcher by the name of Justin Martinez. One of the pitches that he has in his arsenal is a split finger fastball. And it's 90 miles an hour, so it's a decent splitter, right? However, it's got such a low spin rate, the ball doesn't move like a splitter. It's been said that it resembles a high-speed knuckleball or a forkball. And we're talking about maybe this thing might rotate, I don't know, 10 times between the end of his fingers. And I mean, they clocked it at a 90 miles an hour and a 555 revolutions per minute. Comparatively speaking, most split finger fastballs have anywhere from an 1800 to a 2400 RPM. Yeah. The bottom falls out of this thing. Let me see. They call it it's a unicorn. It's like a unicorn in pitch tracking history. It's one of only 7 times that anyone's ever thrown a splitter that fast with that little spin, and 5 of the previous times were from Aroldis Chapman, the guy who throws at 105, right? The other name was former Red Sox reliever Hirokazu Swamura. There we go. He threw exactly one of those back in 2021. Yeah. Anyways, I thought that was a fun little story today. This is going to be a real short episode tonight, so hold on to your butt, Dorothy, because or Toto, because we're not in Kansas. Let me see here.
Talk about the Cubbies this weekend.
I'm working on it. Hold on. Team USA named Aaron Judge its captain for the 2026 World Baseball Classic.
I thought they only did it like every 4 years.
Or they did it 2 years ago. So, 3 years ago. It's 2. No, I think it's like every 2 or 3 years.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. It's every 2 years. That's right, because it was last time it was 2024. So, yeah. So they're naming him captain, and I'm like, oh, okay. Well, as long as we win, I don't care. Okay. MLB is celebrating Jackie Robinson Day. That is going to be coming up on Tuesday, the 15th. That's tomorrow, actually. Yeah. So tomorrow's Jackie Robinson Day. So if you see the number 42 on the back of everybody's jerseys, that's why. Let me see here. I'm just picking news out here. So let me see here. They've got 3 pitchers on comeback watch that have been injured, coming back for the Red Sox. Trust me, they need it.
Oh, yeah, they do.
At the pace that they're winning games, they would be lucky to see the basement of the American League East Division. Just kind of putting that out there. Let me see here. And as a Red Sox fan, that hurts me. Let me see here. Chris Bryant of the Colorado Rockies, prior today's game against the Dodgers. He was placed on the 10-day injured list, retroactive to yesterday, with lumbar degenerative disc disease in his lower back. It's associated with the wear and tear of the spine. Let me see here. And let me get into. Yeah, what is it that you saw about the Cubs?
Well, their first game against the Dodgers, they got Cubs was 0-3. The next game, it was 16-0.
Losing those games, obviously.
No, the Cubs won.
Yes. And then the Dodgers, I saw a video about this. The Dodgers put a position player in to pitch. I think it was today or yesterday.
It ended up doing like a slow ball.
Well, he's a position player. They're told not to throw hard because pitching mechanics are just slightly different than fielding, than the mechanics of a fielder when you throw.
Yeah, but this was like ridiculously slow.
He's a position player. He's not going up there throwing heat. But what was funny was every time he went into a windup, he imitated every pitcher on the pitching staff.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they're like doing Clayton Kershaw's like stretch out and then pull back behind kind of a thing. And yeah, it was fun to watch. Man, we're going to set a land speed record for the amount of time that we're on this episode tonight.
Well, maybe not entirely, because one bit of news that came out today that everybody's been asking me at work about, and it is ridiculous. I had to like put somebody in their place because they went off on it, and I was like, no, this is.
Oh, please, by all means, if David's getting the hot take, let's go. Come on.
Nico Imolve, Tennessee quarterback, demanded $4 million in a what was it? Biscotti?
Yeah. Okay. Let me get into that in just a minute.
It's a $2 million car.
Yeah. Let me get into that in just a minute, because I knew something like this was going to happen. All right. So give me just a second. I'm going to break in. I'm going to lead off with this story, and then I'm going to get into what you were talking about.
Okay.
Okay. So, former LSU wide receiver, Kyron Lacy, died of an apparent self-inflicted cancellation to life.
There we go. That works.
Saturday night in Houston. He was in his car being pursued by authorities, according to Harris County, Texas Sheriff's report released Sunday. This is from ESPN.com. The date on the article was yesterday. So according to Harris County authorities, police responded to a call from a female family member who said Lacy had discharged a firearm into the ground during a verbal argument late Saturday night. Now, when they arrived on the scene, they learned that the suspect, Lacy, had fled in a vehicle. Now, authorities say that their pursuit of Lacy ended when he crashed. They say that when the officers approached the vehicle to extract Lacy, he had died from what appeared to be a self-inflicted GSW. He was 24 years old, pronounced dead at the scene by emergency responders. He'd been facing criminal charges stemming from a fatal car accident in Louisiana back in December. Quote, "We're saddened to learn of the tragic passing of former LSU football student athlete Kyron Lacy," LSU said in a statement. They go on to say, "Our thoughts and prayers are with his family and loved ones, as well as his former teammates and coaches impacted by his passing." Now, in a social media post Sunday, Lacy's father, Kenny Lacy, urged parents to check on their children's mental health from an early age. Quote, "Our lives have changed forever, and this will never be okay. But God needed my baby more than he was needed here," Kenny Lacy wrote on Facebook. He goes on to say, "This has got to be the biggest pill our families have had to swallow, but I know the love and compassion in our families will get us through." Kyron Lacy was accused of causing a wreck that killed a 78-year-old man in December on the 17th and then fleeing the scene without rendering aid or calling authorities. On January 12th, he turned himself into authorities and was jailed and then released on a $151,000 bail, according to police records.
Jesus.
Now, La Fourche, Louisiana Parish Sheriff's Office records indicated that Lacey was charged with negligent homicide, felony hit and run, and reckless operation of a vehicle. A grand jury was about to begin hearing evidence in the case Monday. Quote, "It is with profound sorrow that we confirm the tragic passing of Karen Lacey. First and foremost, we ask that the public and the media give his family the space and time that they need to grieve this unimaginable loss in peace." That was from the Lacey family attorney, or actually Lacey's attorney, Matthew Ory. He said in a statement to ESPN's Mark Slayledge, or Slaybach. That's what I'm going with. Anyway, Ory added that he was very confident the evidence after being fully collected and reviewed would lead to a declination of charges, i.e., that's a no bill, i.e., the charges get dropped. He goes on to say, and that we will be demanding a full and transparent review of how this investigation was conducted and why. Now, Lacey declared for the NFL draft on December 19th, 2 days after the crash, and did not play in LSU's win over Baylor in the Texas Bowl. He participated in March at LSU's Pro Day and was ranked as high as the number six receiver prospect in the draft by ESPN's Mel Kiper Jr. in December. He was not ranked among the top 10 available wide receivers in Kiper's most recent big board, which was published last month. Lacey played 3 seasons at LSU after starting his career in Louisiana. Now, Lacey had his best season last year when he caught 58 passes for 866 yards and a team-leading 9 touchdowns. Yeah. And also on ESPN.com, Tennessee is moving on from starting quarterback Nico Amaliva.
Is that how you pronounce it?
I believe that is, because I saw I remember watching a couple of Tennessee games last season, and it's I'm Aleva or I'm Aleva, something like that.
Yeah.
Somebody, I guess Tennessee had a practice they had a scrimmage game today or something, like an inter squad match or game.
Yeah, he was pissed off that he wasn't going to be able to play.
Well, that's what happens when you don't go to practice, or miss team meetings. So somebody had his jersey on in the stands, and they put, they used tape to modify the name, and it just says, "I'm a bitch." Yeah, that was funny. College football fans don't take any days off, man. I'm telling you. All right, so Tennessee has moved on from their starting quarterback with Josh Heupel telling reporters Saturday that, quote, "no one is bigger than the program." Heupel said that the tipping point came Friday morning when Amaleva was a no-show for practice amid his ongoing NIL contract discussions with the school. Quote, "This program has been around for a long time," Heupel said after the Volunteers played their spring game Saturday. "There are a lot of great coaches, a lot of great players who came before and that laid the let me start over. There are a lot of great coaches, a lot of great players who came before that laid the cornerstone pieces. The legacy, the tradition, that is Tennessee football. It's going to be around a long time after I'm gone and after they're gone." Amaleva notified offensive coordinator Joey Hazel late Friday night that he was in the process of filling out his paperwork and planned to enter the transfer portal when it opens Wednesday. And that was a report, or that's what sources told ESPN's Chris Lowe. Now, Heupel and other staff members had been trying to reach Amaleva and his representatives to no avail after he missed practice and meetings earlier Friday, sources said. Tennessee was aware that Amaleva's representatives had reached out to at least one other school, which was Oregon, prior to the start of spring practice. Oregon said it wasn't interested. Now, the day before the winter portal ended in January, Amaleva's representatives asked for his deal to increase to the $4 million range, but Tennessee didn't redo it. Quote, "We weren't going to flinch this time either," a source told ESPN. Amaleva was making $2.4 million on a contract that was reported to be $8 million when he signed it. But he started receiving payments when he was still in high school, and the total value of the contract would have been closer to $10 million over the life of the deal. Amaleva just completed his. I know. That I don't like the NIL rules the way that they're set up.
Okay, yeah. Well, I was trying. Okay, yeah. It's like I was telling one of my coworkers today. I believe some of these players should get paid,
Mhm.
but they should cap it to like living expenses. I would go off and say, okay, 50,000.
You can get paid, but your tuition, room and board, and your living expenses are for that. There's no reason why college athletes should be making millions of dollars playing a game that traditionally they were supposed to have amateur status to play.
Yeah, because you're gonna have situations like this.
Because the
It's
second
always-
they get an agent, the rule used to be the second you sign an agent, like if you declare for the draft and you secure an agent, you are no longer eligible to play college football.
It's always
Apparently,
been
those rules have changed.
it's always been insane to me how athletes, and especially at like college level, get paid more than like police officers and military, and I've never understood it.
Yeah, see, there's something that you spoke to, Colin, just now that a lot of America seems to be missing. That is compassion and common sense. So congratulations, you are a leg up. You are a man among men. How about that? Amaleva just completed his redshirt freshman season, which means he would have had 3 seasons remaining at his next destination. Now, the spring transfer portal opens Wednesday, and he is expected to be the most notable player available. Quote, I want to thank him for everything he's done since he's gotten here as a recruit and who he was as a player and how he competed inside the building, Hupel said. Now, obviously, we're moving forward as a program without him. I said it to the guys today. There was no one bigger than the Power T. That includes me. Now, Maleva showed promise his first year as a starter, leading Tennessee to the college football playoff in a 10-3 season. He threw for 2,616 yards, 19 touchdowns, with 5 interceptions. He completed 63.8% of his passes.
It's actually not bad.
No, it's really good. Really good. The Volunteers offense finished number 9 in the 16-team SEC in scoring offense last year in league play, and Amaleva was the conference number 10 quarterback in passing yards per game with 200.6. Now, the move puts both Tennessee and Amaleva in difficult situations heading into the 2025 season. Amaleva's departure leaves Tennessee with just 2 scholarship quarterbacks, neither of whom has started a college game. Now, Hupel said Saturday that the program will look to add another quarterback in the spring portal. And sources added to ESPN that with Amaleva's future uncertain, officials from Tennessee's collective began to make calls Friday to see what the potential market could look like for his replacement. Now, one quarterback got more money from his school Friday after Tennessee's collective called third-party officials tied to him. Now, one factor looming over both sides is that the SEC rules prohibit transferring within the conference in the spring if the player desires immediate eligibility. That means Amaleva can't go to an SEC school, and no quarterback on an SEC roster can go to Tennessee if they hope to play in 2025. This move puts redshirt freshman backup quarterback Jake Merklinger in the driver's seat to be Tennessee's starter next year. It's difficult, though not impossible, for a college quarterback to come in, learn the offense, and win the starting job in summer camp. Now, true freshman George McIntyre is the backup, and Tennessee has a top 10 recruit in the class of 2026 by the name of Faison Brandon. Now, Faison Brandon didn't commit to Tennessee. He did commit to Tennessee. He's a 5-star recruit who is ESPN's number 3 overall quarterback. Now, the market for Amaleva will be a fascinating one, especially if he's seeking the same amount of money in the mid $2 million range. While there is available money in the system for the next few months before the era of revenue share is codified, which means if it's anything like baseball, when you go like over a certain cap, you start paying luxury tax, and that luxury tax gets to get broken up amongst all the teams, right?
Yeah.
So hopefully that's what that's how it will work out. But if it's difficult for a program to bring in a quarterback transfer with a high priced NIL demands in the late spring portal, it not only is potentially disruptive for the current quarterback room, but it could also disrupt the locker room. Also, many schools have their quarterback salary structured for 2025. Now, the move to cut ties with Amalava has unfolded as a classic tale of modern college football, as he arrived at the school with a historic contract and now leaves both Tennessee quarterback room and his own future shrouded in uncertainty. The Volunteers, meanwhile, move on, with the players emphasizing Saturday that the team is greater than any individual. So, yeah, this dude thought he was going to go show up the school, sit out, because he did not like the way that he was getting paid, even though he willfully took payments while still in high school. Hadn't even signed up for a single semester.
Yeah, that's ridiculous.
Okay.
Now,
And didn't even take a single snap on the practice field for Tennessee. And he's already, taken payments off of his contract. I think that needs to be redone. I think that rule needs to change, because what that does is it really just it does not set up for a good transition from the structure of high school to basically the semi-real world of college athletics. Because while the structure and the infrastructure really is there for college sports, I think that going forward,
they need to overhaul the whole damn thing.
well, we don't need to reinvent the wheel, because obviously, players have been fighting to get compensated for a very long time.
Well, yeah, but
I think right, but I think that at a certain point, well, not even at a certain point, I think that players, while they're in college, they need to make what amounts to is the league minimum in the NFL.
yeah, that's
'Cause
still
if you're a college kid who's already on a scholarship,
that is way too much. Because NFL minimum is like 250,000.
Yeah.
Or unless it got bumped up. It might have got bumped up to like 750.
Yeah, I'm looking that up here real quick.
That is still way
In
too much.
2024, the NFL league minimum salary for each player on an active roster was $795,000 for rookies, and it increases with experience. Players with 1 year of experience, the minimum salary is $915,000 a year. And for veterans with 7+ years of experience, it's $1.2 million every year.
See, that's way too much. Like I said, you go in and they get like,
well,
I would say, okay, because they're already getting free college.
Yeah, so let's cut that in half.
Okay, no, you give them free college and living expense, depending on where you're at, living wages, 50,000. You know, if it was Wichita Falls, 50,000 is really good.
Yeah, it would be.
That's it.
I say that we cap out. I'll meet you. I'll meet you halfway. Actually, I'll meet you more than halfway. Say we cap out as a college athlete. Minimum for your freshman year be 45,000. Okay. If you make it all the way to your senior year, then you can make up to, let's just say, 250,000. Okay, for the season. Because what that does is it forces those college students to not look forward to the excess. It forces them to budget that money.
Yeah.
And if they cannot make it work, then we need to put in kind of like, some rules, like teach these guys how to wisely spend their money while they're in college, right? As opposed to, having to take the required rookie classes for social media presence and budgeting, right? Because those are all those financial classes that NFL rookies are required to attend.
Don't listen.
No, they don't. But what if a player starts running into financial trouble while they're playing college ball of any kind, I think that they have to sit out, or they have to serve at least a 1 year disqualification from whatever draft that they planned on entering.
I could see that.
Make
There's
it a penalty. Like you either you come here, you're already on scholarship, so we're going to pay you to play. If you can't make that money work, you don't get to go pro for at least 1 year.
There's also lawsuits happening right now for likenesses.
See, that part I understand, like the college football games,
That's not
merchandise.
that's not college football. Gymnastics, baseball, softball.
I was talking about in general. Okay. So advertising. Well, see, the advertising has been, you're playing for that school, especially now if they're paying you. I using your likeness for that particular season or going into a season. I mean, maybe at best 1 to 2% of the revenue share.
Well, okay. The way it makes sense, but it doesn't like put a hammer, gavel to the a hammer to the gavel. Is you have these, whatever the sport is, gymnastics, softball, baseball for college. Right. It's being televised, and they're making billions off these.
I understand
that's
that.
what they're coming from.
Well, it's not necessarily the colleges that are making all of that money. Yes, the colleges are getting a majority of that share. However, the networks get their piece of the pie. The venues get a piece of that pie. Yes, of course, the colleges do. And the colleges get a bigger part of that because athletics is the biggest. Like, what's the word I'm looking for here? The athletics are the biggest moneymaker for colleges, especially at the Division I level. Now, I mean, like with bowl games is nothing. It don't mean anything except how far you get in the playoffs will dictate how much money your school makes. If your school wins it all, like Florida just did for the NCAA men's basketball, that's a healthy chunk of change right there for the school.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, as far as the likenesses are concerned, again, let me finish. So you willingly and willfully signed a commitment letter to play for and signed a contract to get paid by this particular school. Do not expect anything more than maybe at most 5% of the revenue sharing from your likeness being used to help put butts in the seats, because just like with any other like professional team, right? You're going to get athletes that are going to be put on billboards. They're going to be featured on ticket stubs. They're going to be in commercials, advertising season tickets, right? That player understands that, hey, I'm the draw. I am what is putting butts in the seats. Okay. Believe it or not, professional athletes, whenever their likenesses are used for advertising purposes for the club, they get a very minimal market. They get a very, very minimal compensation for that. If you want max dollars for your likeness, get an outside sponsorship from like Nike or Under Armour or something like that. That's why sponsorships are big deals. Okay. That's like Shohei Ohtani with New Balance, Mike Trout with Nike, Bryce Harper with Under Armour. You know, they sign big multi-million-dollar deals to be the face of that particular department for that brand. You're not going to see, you know, I mean, you're going to see college athletes putting themselves out there for, you know, I mean, I've seen like T. Rowe Price commercials, you know, like financial consulting firms and things like that, legal firms. I've seen oil commercial, or I mean, oil company commercial, like gas company commercials. I've seen so many different advertisements with college athletes wearing an athletic uniform of some type with colors somewhat similarly resembling the colors of the school that they're currently attending. And they get paid by that person. They get paid by that entity, that company. If the college needs to use your likeness to sell season tickets or to sell tickets to a particular event, a game, meet, match, whatever.
Yeah.
They're doing that to help pay your to pay your salary. So you'd almost look at it like it was double dipping.
Well, okay. Here, I pulled this up. I'm just going with solid college softball.
Okay.
Well, players are typically paid through athletic scholarships, not direct salary. These scholarships usually cover tuition, fees, sometimes room and board. The average athlete scholarship for NCAA Division I softball player is around about 20,000. Division II is like 7,000.
Mm-hmm.
I can understand where they're coming from. It literally says may cover room and board.
Okay. But again, where's that room and board at? What?
It would probably be in the dorms.
Or if you get some students that prefer to live off campus, okay, what arrangements are you making to make sure that you can financially afford that?
That's true.
Okay. These universities cannot be expected and should not be expected to hold the hand of these athletes or student athletes as they're progressing through their education. 90% of the college athletes are going to play for their school for all 4 years, 5 if they redshirt for a season, and get that education. That other 10%, they're going to declare for whatever professional draft they might be there might be out there for that particular sport.
This is true.
Okay. And an even smaller percentage of those athletes actually make it. They may be stuck in whatever minor league system that particular league has, whether they're in the NFL, they're on practice squads or playing the NFL Europe or whatever, or the NFL with their D, G, E, and F leagues, or minor league baseball. They may be stuck in A, AA, AAA for their entire career. But, you know, the idea that these schools should be allowed to, or should be required rather, to hold their hands and teach them these vital life lessons that A, their parents should have already been teaching them, or B, should have already taught them. Like, oh, well, you're being what's the latest buzzword? You're being ableist against those who didn't come from traditional nuclear family backgrounds. No, I'm not. No, I'm not, because at some point, in order to get as good as they got for colleges, especially Division I, to take notice and go, hey, we want to sign you to a contract because we think you're talented enough to bring us national exposure and possibly national championships. By the way, we're going to pay you to play here. They had that natural talent is great. That'll get you on the field, but it's the grit, determination, and drive to excel that's going to keep you there. Okay. Those people would have had to have had some kind of a mentor, some kind of a coach, some kind of an instructor, some kind of father or mother figure that would have come along in their lives, especially during their athletic development, and said, hey, you need to prepare for life outside the chalk lines or outside of this arena. You need to prepare for life outside of the sport, because the sport's not going to be there forever for you. Your body's going to fail. Your talent's going to wane. You need to be prepared. Somebody had to have dropped that bug in their ear at least one time. It's not the responsibility of these universities to hold the hands of these student athletes until they're out there making millions of dollars and then never come back and finish their education. No, I call BS on the whole NIL thing. $1 million contracts. Are you kidding me? No, get out of here. The idea of playing college sports was to make it into the professional leagues where you get where you got that money based on your talent, not how well you can convince a university based on edited, highlight reels that you send them. And then you get this, I'm a Leva guy, one season and he's done. I'm sorry. He'd be very hard pressed to go anywhere. And I mean, absolutely anywhere with that shitty attitude in the locker room. That is a cancer. It's a cancer that needs to be excised from any locker room that he even remotely thinks about going to. And if there's some college coach out there on Division I or Division II that thinks, yeah, we can fit this guy into our budget, let's bring him in, damn the torpedoes and full speed ahead, and think that you're going to actually have a productive program, I'm sorry, you're not. Because you're going to need to get this kid to dislodge his cranial cavity from his anal cavity in a very short fashion. Apply some negative pressure and have him dislodge his head from his fourth point of contact. Because he thinks that he's bigger than the game. He thinks that he's bigger than any program. He thinks he's God's gift to the gridiron for some reason, and he needs to be brought down and humbled. And the same thing goes for any other student athlete that thinks that they are worth millions of dollars while they're still in school. And whoever it was that thought it was a great idea to start extending him payments from his contract while he was still in high school, that person needs to be fired and analyzed.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, absolutely. There is no excuse for that. College programs used to get neutered and put on probation for years for doing stuff like that. It was called a recruiting violation. Just like, oh, are you kidding me? I mean, as it is down here in Texas, we got high schools that are going out and recruiting players from other districts. You can't do that. Sure, you can entice, say, hey, look, your kid can play here. Your kid can start here. That's as far as it goes. You can't promise the player certain compensations. You can't promise the family certain compensatory packages like, hey, we're going to find your dad a job. If all you got to do is just come play here. That's a bunch of crap. It's the same damn thing. You're giving these college athletes millions of dollars. You kidding me right now? No. I'm sorry. Just get out of here with that crap. See, now I'm all pissed off. Like,
you got fired up.
Colin sent me a text message here. Hold on just a second. Let me look at what he sent me. Oh, man. That's funny. Okay. Colin, you got your segment ready? Hello.
Can you?
Yes, you're gonna have to fix. I'm gonna get you a new headset with a new microphone.
I don't know why am I stupid.
No, I'm
Did
gonna
it
get
lower?
you. I'm gonna
Did
get
it lower
you.
itself again?
Yeah, because whenever you pull your microphone away, it cuts out. Because
Is
you
this
don't
better?
pull it back just a little bit. No, not that far. Go halfway. Speak.
Is fine.
That's fine.
Yeah, because it keeps for some
'Cause
reason in
until
my
we can get you
settings.
a soundboard set up that allows us to show you how to adjust the sensitivity of your microphone, where you can speak and still be heard from a distance.
Well, it's because see, look, it adjusts itself.
Well,
Why
we're gonna
is
get
it
that all
doing
figured out.
that?
All that said, birthday boy, do you have the birthday edition of Joke Time with Colin ready?
Yes.
Rising from the smoke and haze of desolation comes a Spartan, He is bent on wronging that which has been set right. It's the greatest genetic code ever to exist here for your ears and eyes to feast upon. Spartan Colin, I hope you're bringing the smoke tonight. Someone get me a joke.
God, I hate my internet sometimes. All right. So y'all keep freezing in and out, and it's pissing me off.
All right, just deliver. Bring the smoke.
What does a pedo call a baby in a trash can?
Oh, this is gonna be bad. What?
Herdside pickup.
Oh. Oh. Oh.
He turned 16 people today, and this is what he brings to the table. Wow. Oh, that's harsh. Oh, that's harsh.
What does a pizza delivery driver and a gynecologist have in common?
Lord. What? Tell me.
They can look, but they can't taste.
He's not wrong.
I've heard that one. That was still funny.
Yeah, I mean, he's not wrong. Not
Yeah.
wrong at all. Not wrong at all.
That's
What else
it.
you got? That's it?
That's it. Yep.
He comes at us with a deuce on his birthday. Okay. All right.
Slipping out through the fog of war, this Spartan continues the fight. Your souls have become collateral damage in the battle against the flood of moral supremacy. Leave your expectations at the door on your way out and marvel before the pillar of tactical prowess. Ladies and gentlemen, angry faithful of all ages, this has been Joke Time with Colin.
Man, eventually we're going to get nailed for using that music, but I'm here until we do. Okay.
I'll yell at you when it happens.
So earlier on camera, you guys saw me sticking something in my nose. All it was is just a boom boom stick. That's all it is. That's all it is. I'm not sitting there taking bumps on the show. Not doing that. It just opening my nose up. That's all it's doing. Okay. So there was a NASCAR race at Bristol this weekend. Pretty awesome. Kyle Larson had himself a weekend. He absolutely dominated the Xfinity race on Saturday and won at Bristol. Sunday, second verse, same as the first. Kyle Larson absolutely dominated the Cup Series race on Sunday and won. He led for a total of, let me get the results to pull up here real quick. It was a 500 lap affair. Okay. Bear this in mind. All right. Now, without looking, you know how many laps he led?
How many?
411.
Jesus.
Yeah. He won by 2.250 seconds. Yeah. I mean, he absolutely torched the field. So Denny Hamlin, his win streak came to an end at 2. He finished second, 2.2 seconds behind. Third place was Ty Gibbs. Chase Briscoe rounded out the Joe Gibbs Racing 2-3-4 finish. Ryan Blaney came home in fifth, and then in the number 12 Ford for Penske Racing. William Byron in the 24 Chevrolet Camaro for Hendrick Motorsports comes home sixth. Ross Chastain seventh. Christopher Bell eighth. I say that rounded out Joe Gibbs, but there's Christopher Bell in eighth. But anyways, I digress. AJ Allmendinger in the 16 Camaro came home ninth. Austin Dillon in the number 3 Chevy Camaro came home 10th. 11th through 20th was Carson Hocevar, Josh Berry, Justin Haley, Kyle Busch, Chase Elliott, Brett Keselowski, Austin Cindric, Tyler Reddick, Bubba Wallace, and Ryan Preece. So that rounded out. Oh, Alex Bowman, you were doing so good. He must have had a late wreck. Yeah, because it showed him out. Anyways, Right now, so next week we're looking at Talladega Super Speedway for the Cup Series, guys. The old Rockingham Speedway is going to take center stage Friday and Saturday nights for the Craftsman Truck Series and the Xfinity guys. Look for the Craftsman Truck Race Friday on FS1. This Friday, the 18th, at 4 o'clock Central Time. And Saturday on the CW, it's going to be at a 3 o'clock start for the Xfinity guys at Rockingham. Now, Sunday is where it's at. Cup Series rolls into Talladega, Alabama. Talladega Super Speedway. That is going to be a 2 o'clock start. It's going to be on Fox proper because, apparently Fox had nothing else better going on Sunday. Instead of kicking it to their sister network, they're going to handle it themselves. So Talladega has always been called the wild card track. It doesn't matter if it's in the playoffs or during the regular season. A lot of people have never finished this race. A lot of people have never scored a top 10 at this race. And there are definitely a lot of people who have never won at this track. Having personally been to Talladega Super Speedway, that is a beast. It is a beautiful sight to behold. It's almost a cathedral. It's very Fenway-esque, as a matter of speaking, because when you come in off of Speedway Boulevard in Talladega, Alabama, the first thing that you see is the catch fence for turns 3 and 4. And then as you get closer, you see the Tri-Oval Tower. Yeah, you never see the entire racing surface until you're inside the track, sitting in the grandstands, looking at everything. This track is 2.5 miles long all the way around.
Oh.
They will hit speeds of anywhere from 190 to 200 plus, and maybe 202 miles an hour, depending on the packages that they've got, depending on how many people are in the draft, that kind of situation. The last winner for this race, let me see here. Defending winner for this race was, this will be the Jack Links 500, by the way. I cannot remember who won this race last year. Oh, well, does not matter. But yeah, so look for that. And then, yeah. So I have run into a considerable problem with my PlayStation 2 Slim that I found it. I bought a white one. I've replaced the laser twice on this thing. It'll read certain games, but it won't read all games. And I don't understand why. So if any of our listeners might be a little bit tech savvy, shoot me an email at soxfan1977.js@gmail.com, or get a hold of us on the Angry Me social media platforms. Any kind of tips might help. Yes, I know that it's a PlayStation. I know that it's a PlayStation 2. I know that there's pentometers that can be adjusted on the backside of the laser using a voltimeter. I've looked at all of that. I've done everything that I know to do. The only thing I can think of at this point is there might be a bad chip on the motherboard itself, in which case I'm hoping that it wouldn't be too much to fix, because I definitely don't want to pump another $150 to $200 into a PlayStation 2. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, but I do have my eye on a white PS3 Slim. You remember how like they had the PS3 Slim and then they had the Super Slim?
Yeah.
So I found a white one the other day. A guy here in Lake Jackson, he's got one. He's going to hold it for me. But yeah. So I'm pretty stoked about that. Going to get some retro gaming on, and Colin, you got any words of wisdom for us?
Don't do drugs.
There you go. That's it. Don't do drugs, kids.
All right, let's land this plane. I'm about to pass out.
All right, so just your underqualified safety briefing for the week. Don't drink and drive. Don't drive and drink. Don't add to or subtract from the population. If you find yourself in a legal situation and you land in jail, odds are you're going to be there for a while. especially if it's late at night. You happen to do it on a Friday, get comfortable. You're going to be there till Monday. But in the words, no, retract that, stop, rewind it like Willy Wonka. I'm Johnny Skelton,
I'm David Dickerman.
I'm Colin Skelton.
the 16-year-old Colin Skelton. And in the words, I only do that because I know it bugs you. In the words of the immortal lesbian pirate Bearded Clam, scissor me timbers, everybody. R. And get out of here.